Hi ladies and gentlemen, welcome. In this tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you how to use a famous control panel. If you are hosting your website on a Linux server, then there's a high probability that you are using a control panel. If you don't know how to log into your control panel or you don't have your control panel details, please contact your web hosting service provider for more information. In my case, I always log into the control panel by inputting my website /cpanel. So the website I want to use for this tutorial is gayemedia.com. So I just key in gayemedia.com/cpanel. Please be aware that when you talk of cpanel or control panel, it's basically one and the same thing. Now I'm being redirected into my control panel. Good, this is the cpanel login page. So I'm going to enter the username, which is gayemedia, and the password. Always make sure to keep your password secure. Good, my login is correct, and I'm now into the control panel. Now let's take a look at the control panel. You see there are a whole lot of buttons in the center here, and to your right they've got some information about your hosting. There's some information about the service you paid for. Here I've got my username, and it shows me my password. It shows me the theme. The theme I'm using for this tutorial is Paper Latin. If your theme is not Paper Latin, you might as well change it in order to be able to follow up this tutorial fully. Now I have here my email account. I see that I can create 30 email accounts. For now I have 0. I have autoresponders, bandwidth, I have my SQL, forward that, and there's a whole lot more. Well, I'm not going to teach you everything about the control panel, otherwise it's going to take us a very long time. I'm going to teach you the basic things you should know about your control panel. And if there's anything you didn't find in this tutorial, please feel free to contact me and I will gladly respond to you. The first thing we are going to look at is the file manager. Now, what's the file manager? It's from the file manager that you really be able to manage all the contents of your website. So much of the contents of your website will be stored in your file manager. Here we have this image button here. Let's ignore it, and then we'll have a backup and a backup wizard. Well, the backup and the backup wizard will help you to back up information, help you to back up data stored in your website so you can restore it later on, so you can back it up and install it in another server. You can just back up your website information just to keep it safe. We have here your FTP account. FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol. Now this is software. It helps you. This is software which will help you to access your file manager without passing through the control panel. It's a software which is very nice to use. I hope we'll look at that in another tutorial. The most popular of this FTP software, to my knowledge, is FileZilla. We are going to look at that another time. As I said, we have file manager. This is where most of the files of your website will be stored. Below we have got databases. Many large websites have databases, and if you are thinking of using maybe the content management systems like WordPress, Joomla, Drupal, or whichever content management system, they are going to be using databases. So I'm in another tutorial, but if you watch my tutorial on WordPress installation, you would have come across databases and how to create a database. Below I've got this SEO and marketing tools. I'm not going to talk about that for now because there are better SEO tools that you can use, and the SEO tools of the control panel are not very accurate. Below SEO tool, we are going to look at domains. Domains is very important. I'm going to tell you now first about add-on domains. Depending on the hosting package you pay for, you may have add-on domains. Now, add-on domains will make it possible for you to have a few websites, or for you to have many websites. I don't know why this thing is popping up. We'll look at that later on. Add-on domains will enable you to have a few websites in one control panel. You know, rather than if you are doing websites, mostly websites which are related to each other, or websites which all belong to you, it may be very expensive for you to have separate control panels for separate websites, you know. So you could just have one cpanel, and in each cpanel you could be adding add-on domains. Now look at subdomains. Subdomains are like domains attached to a domain. So let me say, for example, my domain here is gaiamedia.com. If I wanted to have a blog attached to Gaia Media, I could create a subdomain which is going to be like blog.gaiamedia.com. Listen to it once more. Blog.gaiamedia.com. You see, it looks like a domain, but it's not a full domain because it is attached to gaiamedia.com. Then we have redirects. Redirects like will help you point your websites to other websites or to another website. That's that's redirect. Then below we have got emails. Now this is also very important, and we are going to do some examples. Emails will enable you to create emails, domain-based emails for your website. For example, the website I'm using for this tutorial is gaiamedia.com, and I could have an email like contact@gaiamedia.com or info@gaiamedia.com. This is a domain-based email which is very different from the popular free email service you usually know like Yahoo, Gmail, and many others. Then we have like forwarders. You could decide that some emails should be sent to other emails. You have autoresponders. You will decide that when people write email to you, and automatically an email gets sent to them automatically. Below we have got metrics. I'm going to ignore that one. We have got security here. It's very important, especially we are going to be looking at mod security, which is very important if you are using a content management system. We are going to have an example, and we'll also have software, PHP Ray packages, and a few others. I hope we are going to look at that in another tutorial. And we have this advanced preferences. I'm not going to talk about that. We have this apps installer. It's very important. It could help you to install WordPress, Joomla, and other systems automatically from the control panel. I've done an earlier video on installing WordPress from your control panel. If you watch that video, it's going to be very useful to you to understand about the apps installer of the control panel. Now we are going to be looking at some examples, and I'm going to start from the file manager. Remember, I told you that it's from file manager that you're going to be able to manage your website. Most of the files of your website are going to be stored in your file manager. So I'm going to click open the file manager. Just click just one time. The file manager is going to open. And once in file manager, we are going to be going to public HTML. So I click on public HTML, and it's here that I will start managing my website. Now let's visit gaiamedia.com and see what's in there. So I'm going to type gaiamedia.com. Check the enter button. Good. So you have got the index of gaiamedia.com. This is gaiamedia.com, and this is the index of gaiamedia.com. And we see that there is just nothing in Gaiamedia. Gaiamedia is just now like an empty website. And from file manager, we are going to create the first page of Gaiamedia. I go back to file manager. I'm going to click on file manager once more. I'm in file manager. Once in file manager, I go again to public HTML. This is where the pages of my website are stored. You see in public HTML, there is just nothing other than this CGI-bin folder. Now I want to create the first page of my website. I'm going to start that by clicking on the file button plus file, which is like to say a new file. I want to create it. Now the system is asking me for my file name. I'm going to name this file as index.html. Why index.html? Because the first page or the home page of every website must always be an index page. It could be index.html, it could be index.php, it could be index.html or whatever, but it's always an index. It's always an index file. So I'm going to name it as index.html, and I create the file. Once I create the file, you see we'll now have a new file which is index.html, but the file is a blank file, so I'm going to put some information in my index file. So I'll click on index once more, and I click on the edit button, like telling the browser or the system that I want to edit my index page. Good. Click on index. We are now in the index page, and I'm going to write a basic HTML file. I hope you have some information about HTML. If you don't have any information about HTML, hypertext markup language, it may be a good place for you to start. You may have to start learning what's HTML today. If you have any questions concerning HTML, CSS, PHP, or whatsoever, feel free to contact me. I'll always enlighten you. So I write my first HTML file. I want to open the HTML tag. I'm going to put my title. It's a very basic page. Gaye Media. The title tag. Yeah, I'll just put an h1 file like welcome to my website. In the tutorial, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. I wanted to create an h2 file here. h2 now I'm going to close h2. Come here. What I think I should do, I think I should send this welcome to the center. I think I should close my HTML. Well, I'm done editing this page. Remember, it's a very basic page, and now I'm going to save it. It's successfully saved, so I'm going to go back to guidemedia.com and refresh the page to see what I get. Go test it. We'll now have the first page of our website. You see that we have done that by creating a file in the file manager public HTML called index.html. Now we are going to go back to the control panel page. The next thing that I want us to look at for now, let's check what can we look at. What we are going to look for now is that we are going to go to subdomains. I want to create our first subdomain. It's my assumption that my students Gaye is going to like to create a blog for her website, gayemedia.com. She'd like to create a blog for this website very soon, and she'd like to be under a subdomain. So let's just create a subdomain. Here we have the subdomain field. I'm going to enter the name of the subdomain, which is blog. I see here I'm being shown the main domain. If I had other domains, I would have been able to select, but there's only one domain, so it's just blog. Subdomain name is blog, and domain is gayemedia.com. So I'm going to create. I'm going to strike on the create button. Let's see if it's successful. Thank God it's successful. There are no error messages. So I'm going to come here once more. The subdomain I created was blog.gayemedia.com, and I strike the enter button and see what I get. My internet is a little bit slow. I'm very sorry about that, but I hope we are going to find something under blog.gayemedia.com. Good, is successful. We have here the subdomain, which is blog.gayemedia.com. I'll have the, you start this, there's just an empty folder. We have the cgi.bin. The folder is empty. If we should go back to our control panel, we are still in public HTML. We should take the go button. Well, it's not there. Let me close this one. I want to go back to file manager, go back to this control panel, and then go back to the file manager. Now go inside the file manager. You see now I still have the public HTML, which is the root folder of the website, and I now have a new folder, which is blog.gayemedia.com. If I should click open this blog.gayemedia.com, I see that it's an empty folder. And what I want to do is I would like to create another page for blog.gayemedia.com. I just copied this code, and here in blog.gayemedia.com I'm going to create a new file. Remember I have to name the file name as index because it's the first page, is the home page of the website. So I'm going to name it as index.html. We have the file here. Click on it once more and then click the edit button and I can edit it. I already copied some information, so I'm just going to paste it here. I have here the title. I'm going to change title to like blog. Just put it as blog. Let's try to be fast, please. Blog, and instead of saying welcome to my website, I'm going to change title this time. I have to say welcome to my blog, and I save it. I come back to blog.guymedia.com and I refresh it. You see now I now have a new page. The title here is blog, and the top here is welcome to my blog. So that is it. That's what I want to show you about the control panel. If you look at the control panel once more, we have also got MySQL databases and MySQL database wizard. We are going to look at that in a future tutorial as we learn how to install Joomla, WordPress, or Drupal. In fact, as we learn how to install the content management system manually, as we do a quick install of the content management system in a future tutorial. In that tutorial, we are going to learn more about databases and how to create databases. Subdomains, add-on domains. My website does not allow me to have add-on domain. I'm sorry about that. We will not be able to create add-on domain. But if you want to create an add-on domain, all we would have done is we would have clicked on add-on domains, just like we did for subdomains. And here I would have put my new domain name. Let me just put like gaye3.com. You see, this is the full domain, gaye3.com, and I've clicked here subdomain. It's automatic. There I click on add domain. Sorry, you are not allowed to add more than 0 add-on domains. The domain was not set up. You see, the reason is that I'm not allowed to add add-on domains. Probably I have to pay more money in order to have that service. So we are back to the control panel. What next are we going to look at? I'm not going to look at PHP my admin. We are going to be looking at PHP my admin in another tutorial. Okay, good. We are in emails, and let's try to create one email. So these are our email accounts. I click on the email account button. I scroll to the bottom of my page and I see that I do not have any email account attached to this control panel. So I'm going to create an email account which is going to be contact@gayemedia.com. I'm going to put the password. Always make sure you have a strong password. I'm going to have a very simple password here. You see, my Cpanel is being kind by telling me that I've got a very weak password. Please always make sure you have a strong password. I'm using the weak password just because for the purpose of this tutorial. Now I come here, I have to check my mail. I have to check my mail quota box. It's telling me that the maximum quota for this email is just 250 megabytes. Well, I'm going to make it unlimited, and I'm going to create it. Sorry, my system says my password do not match. It's a mistake in the password. I'm going to create it once more. I hope it matches this time around. It still do not match, so I'll check the first one. Probably the mistakes from here. I hope this time around is going to be okay. Good, so I've created my first email. You have seen how to create your email from your control panel. The next thing I'm going to be looking at, let me try to show you something else. Mode security is very important. If you are building your website using a control panel, then you most likely have to always disable mode security. Otherwise, you will have a lot of problems. So if you are building your website using a content management system, always remember to disable mode security. So I just click on the mode security button and I click the off button, and it's going to be disabled. Put this disabled. I'm going to go back to my control panel. Let me see one thing I'm going to look at again before we end this tutorial. We have here software. We're going to ignore that for now. We have here this Soft Akulos apps installer. We are going to ignore this for now. We are going to create other several tutorials on how to install all these applications. So thank you very much. We have come to the end of this tutorial, and I hope you find it helpful. Remember, you can contact me at any time by email, and I'm going to be able to enlighten you on anything you didn't understand. And if you have got any questions regarding the control panel which was not addressed in this tutorial, feel free to ask me anytime and I'll always get back to you. Now we are done with this tutorial, and I will always remember to log out of the cPanel. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope